here's Brody Brazil.
You know, the Bay Area hasn't had a professional women's basketball team since the San Jose Lasers of the late 90s. It's been more than 20 years, but it looks like that's about to change as the WNBA very likely now headed to the Bay Area. That part should not come as a surprise. The WNBA and expansion and the Bay Area have all been in discussion, but how it's happening and where it's happening might be the part that nobody could have expected or anticipated. We'll first here get into what we know about this story, and then I'll get into my thoughts, reactions, and instincts about what's going on. We know this is legit because of who it comes from and where it comes from. Marcus Thompson II broke this news last night via The Athletic. He's obviously well connected. He knows the ins and outs of who to talk to, what's going on behind the scenes. He and everybody else, including the Warriors, who responded with a statement, are making sure everybody knows this is not complete yet. It's still in the works. But for Marcus to break this story and for so much to be discussed about it, to have all these details, you got to understand that this is probably in the very final stages, and right around the corner there will be some type of announcement. Maybe it'll coincide with the start of this Warriors next season. By the way, it's a Warriors-backed team. I guess you could say it's a Warriors-owned team, but I think their backing, their endorsement, their influence behind the WNBA expansion franchise, it means just as much as actually owning the team. They've obviously got experience running a franchise. They can institute some synergy between these two teams, cross promotions. I mean, there is so much there that makes sense of why they could and would and should be behind the launch of a WNBA team. Now, this is the part that maybe most people weren't expecting. It's an Oakland headquartered team who will play their games in San Francisco. I don't know what the title of this team is going to be, like the city region and the mascot or the nickname. That's to be decided, obviously, but that's very unique. But it also is pretty logistical, and I'll get into my reactions in a second. The plan is for this WNBA team to take over the old Warriors headquarters in downtown Oakland. That's a facility that they still own and maintain, and it was a great facility, actually built on top of the parking garage of the Marriott City Center Hotel in downtown Oakland, which is like, you would never expect it there. Every time I used to go there, you'd walk in the front doors of the Marriott, take the elevator up, go inside the parking garage, and there's a world-class NBA facility that just built on the top floor. In fact, I remember when it had just opened. Probably was that late 90s or early 2000s. I'm losing track, but it was a great idea when it happened. The Warriors kept it even when they moved across the bay. It was probably a really good idea in retrospect to keep this for a situation just like this. They don't need to build anything new. They can probably upgrade it, refurnish it. I'm sure they'll do that. They'll give it a clean slate and a fresh start. But this WNBA team is going to inherit a truly world-class facility in downtown Oakland. So that makes sense because the Warriors practice facility is now embedded at Chase Center. And obviously playing games at Chase Center, part of the Warriors business model. Oh, I forgot to mention, you saw that on the bottom, the WNBA has made it pretty clear they want to expand within the next couple years by a couple teams. So all of the pieces here are really coming together. Who's going to run this team, where they'll have their practices, where their headquarters will be, and where they'll play their games. I said it at the top. Nobody should be surprised by this. The Bay Area, as part of my very first reaction here, Bay Area is well overdue for a WNBA franchise. This region, the fact that it had an initial team, the San Jose Lasers of the mid to late 90s, but it only lasted for a short period because then the WNBA came around and that separate women's league kind of was forced to shut down. It could not compete. Sacramento had a franchise. A lot of cities across the country have a tandem, an NBA team that has a WNBA team also in the same market. And it just always seemed like the Bay Area should have been one of those selected markets from the beginning. It never was, but again, I think it'll do well here. I think it'll get the support. I always wondered a little bit about the venue size. You want to create something that has a very intimate but full feeling. You kind of want to custom create a venue for that team like you do for a lot of different teams. Sharing Chase Center Maybe they'll make some modifications. Maybe they'll sell the place out. I don't know, but that is the one, not concern over the long run, but maybe they'll get their own home in time. Who knows? It does make sense for the Warriors to get first dibs to run this. And like I said, it comes with their experience, their background, their ability to cross-promote this. They've been an NBA team for a long time. They'll know how to launch this business. They've got the right people already in place to sell tickets, to do merchandise, to market the team. So it makes a lot of sense that they would get this first chance to run it, as opposed to, hey, here's a group that wants to buy in and they've never done this before. They can resume using those downtown Oakland headquarters. I've kind of already gone over that. I think that's just like a perfect fit part of this. And for the Warriors to have held on to this facility, they still use it. They still wanted to have some community connection in Oakland and the East Bay. And it's right downtown in a lot of ways. And the hotel is right there if you need to fly people in and out. It is just such a perfect location. I'm glad in retrospect that they didn't do away with it when they moved. The Warriors want to use Chase Center in the summertime. Now, the NBA plays a lot more games than the WNBA, but still adding another 20, 25 events during the summertime to Chase Center is very desirable. So wanting a team, having another opportunity for business, giving the Bay Area a women's team, there's a lot of good reasons to do this, but from a business perspective, to fill out Chase Center, sure, that's part of it. I think this is an important crossover for the Warriors to do right here, right now. Apparently, they've been wanting to do this for several years now, obviously through 2020 and the pandemic. Maybe the financials weren't right, but they're coming off success again. They're coming off playoffs and a recent NBA title, and having Steph Curry and Klay Thompson still. This is the time to strike. It's an important crossover right here, right now. Versus when the Warriors in 5-10 years might be in a different situation, maybe struggling, maybe rebuilding, maybe on the upswing again after they've hit a low. That would be a rough time to launch something new. You're still in the prime years to have all that synergy, that crossover. You get Steph and Klay and Draymond going out to games and supporting the team out there. It really creates a cohesion and starts something brand new and exciting. And while you have the right people in place to do that, I think it makes sense. Okay, this is the part that maybe a lot of people weren't expecting. You've heard recent chatter that Oakland was trying to land their own WNBA team, and AASEG, the African American Sports and Entertainment Group. They had largely wanted this for the old Oracle Arena, the current Oakland Arena. It's very much part of their plans and their ambitions to have a Coliseum complex over there that included the WNBA and some other things. But it seems like the Warriors, took their chance or took their turn in line to say, well, we'll take this. If they turned it down, I think they would probably have had to approved it going somewhere else. It's the Warriors' first opportunity. I'm not really surprised by that business model and that business decision. But a WNBA team would have made the Coliseum and that complex and the arena different. Now, this totally changes the landscape. That there is no chance for a WNBA team. People have talked about two teams. I don't think you go from 0 to 2 like that. You've got to prove that one can get off the ground, give that a chance. There's no chance, in my opinion, that you do two at the same time. Eventually, who's to say? In the immediate future, I don't think there's any chance. So this changes the dynamic of what's going to happen at the Coliseum, what people expected, and now plan B for the Oakland Arena. I'll also throw this in. I think this is an exciting time to launch a WNBA franchise, with Bay FC also joining the NWSL in 2024 down in San Jose. You've all of a sudden got two major professional women's sports teams being added to the local market. And so as much as I talk about synergy between the WNBA team and the Warriors, how about the WNBA team and the NWSL team? Launching at similar times, could collaborate with fan bases. Now, I believe their seasons do largely cross over, but they don't want to compete like that. They want to synergize like that. They could build excitement simultaneously. So a simple story to understand, again, not really surprising in a sense that it is happening or is about to happen, but kind of the way it's happening and who's behind it and how things are going to go. Maybe you weren't aware of that part. You made it here at the end of the video. You know, I appreciate that. Thumbs up on it down below. That'll help me out. And don't forget, subscribe to the channel so I can definitely see you back here next time.